G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it, all right? That was a nice one, okay. I'm out here, Richard. Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay. So we are here to give a documentary out, to give an Oscar out.
Welcome to Blackballed, everybody. My name is James D. Fiore, and that was the slap heard around the world. That was Will Smith at the Oscars 2 nights ago, smacking the shit out of Chris Rock for a throwaway joke. And it's so funny because since it's happened, when it first happened, it was like, oh, it's staged. Oh, the Oscars are trying, get this, the Oscars are trying to gain publicity because they have a sagging audience. And to do that, they're going to get a black dude to smack another black dude for making fun of a black woman. Because I guess apparently that's the greatest way to get publicity nowadays. That's never going to happen. I thought it was crazy. I've really enjoyed the back and forth that has taken place since then. But really, what is behind the Will Smith smack? And why hasn't anyone made a meme out of this thing yet? Because, I mean, maybe they have. I have no idea. But this, to me, this was like a clairvoyant meme made a decade and a half ago that I think speaks to the situation that we have now. So we have, I have Ryan Lindley to talk about this. Ryan, welcome to Blackballed. And tell me something. Have you ever been smacked across the face like that?
Yeah. Not for that reason, but I've definitely been hit. Yeah. I have a mouth on me, so it used to happen a lot back in the day. But
I can't identify with that.
You've never been hit?
No, I have. I've been bottled from behind. So I you know,
takes a special kind of asshole to get a bottle.
It was at a party. I got robbed. But there were these rappers in the kitchen, and they were. So you know what the funny thing is? Okay, there were these rappers in the kitchen, and they were battling each other. They were kind of sitting at a table, sort of battling each other, kind of casually.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and I went, and I just laughed because I thought it was really bad rapping. And he's like, it's like, what you think? Like they started talking shit or whatever, and they're just like, what do you have? You got lines? You got bars? And I'm like, I'll give you one bar. And the funny thing is that I bit it off my friend who's a rapper. And I just like, I was drunk and I was just like, fuck it. I'll just use my friend's bar and just walk out. It'll be great. And I forgot that the line was originally said by a black dude, and it doesn't work coming out of a white guy's mouth. There was no N-word. There was no N-word.
No, but there was connotation.
But I still said, I am dope, no doubt. Rappers like you run from me like slaves from the South. And then I was like, oh shit. Wait a second. I look too much like the slave owners to say that line.
Yeah.
So I reached into the fridge to grab myself water. And the next thing that I knew, I was in a parking garage with all of my friends, my gal pals on either side, like rubbing my chest and stuff, and crying. And I'm like, what's going on? What's happening? And apparently what happened is that I got bottled and stomped. And then they found me, my friends, in the kitchen, like in a pool of blood. Like they thought I was dead. And then apparently I just got up like really quick. And I just started like, who the fuck is you? Who did this? I have no memory of any of this. The next memory that I have is me just sitting there like, why am I in a parking garage? Hey, guys, Melissa, are you okay? And what Melissa saw when I was saying, are you okay, was a lip that was split, was an orbital bone broken, a broken nose, 2 black eyes, just like.
Holy
and I'm
fuck.
And I had no memory of any of it. And they stole $200. I was really more torn up about the $200.
The $200? Oh, for sure. You know what? Take my dignity, take my tooth, leave my money.
Uber fare. Like
I'm actually playing it in my head as you're saying it, and it's playing out like a Will Smith rap video in my head about the song, about a song, and about a stolen line. Yeah, that's how I was playing it.
One little fight, and my mom got scared. So
yeah, I've only I used to work the door in bars back when I was like 19, 20 years old, and thought I was invincible.
I keep on forgetting that you're a giant.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big dude, and I can handle my own. I'm not a tough guy. I used to use my mouth more than I used my hands, like to resolve shit in bars, which was kind of why the bar owners liked me, because the cops didn't come a whole lot. But the only times that they did, it was pretty serious. And I was also brained once with a pool cue because I was mistaken for somebody else because I was wearing a staff shirt. They thought I was no, I had hair back then, believe it or not.
Oh,
yeah. It was thinning, but it was there. I was still
What
hanging
happened
on.
to your hair? And can
My
I
hair?
make fun of it? Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
It's male pattern baldness that I have, not an autoimmune disease. So,
Right.
yeah.
Disease.
Listen, it's funny. We talked about doing this show. And you had mentioned that Bullard was going to possibly join us. Then you said Kenny might be coming, Robinson. And I thought, how funny of you, how coy to have 4 bald guys to talk about a bald woman. What is wrong with you? Because your sense of humor is beyond the pale.
Yeah. Listen, it was funny because there was a moment, I think, was it this morning or yesterday morning? Where I think it was yesterday morning, where I was like, I think Ryan and I are on opposite sides of this thing. And I thought for a moment we were. Isn't it funny though? Like, listen, you and I have been on opposite sides of things before.
Oh yeah,
it's fine. We can talk it out. Mm-hmm. It's great. I'll only smack you like 3 times when I see you. Like
it's fine. I'll get you a stool.
Yeah. Well, you're also 5,000 times bigger than I am, so you'd probably just flick me away, and that would be that. But
no, I'll let you get it out, especially if I was actually in the wrong.
I don't know. Listen, this situation, I thought it was pretty cut and dry at the beginning. A comedian said a joke, and a man hit him, and for me, that's like it needs to be boiled down like that. Mm-hmm. And if you went back to look at the Ricky Gervais Golden Globes opening monologue or any of the jokes that he told, that Chris Rock joke does not crack the top 50. Of offensive jokes. So I guess what I'm asking you is, when we first heard of it and when it first kind of came out, I think you were probably already sick of talking about it by the time I chimed in because I didn't even know about it until the next day. Was Chris Rock out of line to you?
On its merits and on its own, I don't think so. I think, though, there is a history here. There is probably also a history that we're unaware of here as well. And I had like these thoughts processing and everything yesterday. And then today I got in the car and every fucking news station on the radio, and this is another problem with radio, is they grab onto this and nobody will let go. Nobody will let go. I listened to the airheads from Navigator on 1010 today, trying to work out how they'd handle it if blah blah blah, and if you don't do what we tell you, we drop you, and kind of like they did with Gomeshi, right? And it's like, holy fuck! It's literally Ashley and I were just having the conversation. It's 2 millionaires are at their golden statue party, and one of them got in a hissy fit and slapped, not punched, slapped another one and told him to shut up. And it's the news has not let go 48 fucking hours later. So now I want to go hit all of them. I want to hit I want to hit the guy on the teleprompter. I want to hit the guy that vets the jokes. I want to hit everybody that was there. Like it's a little ridiculous.
Why is it big news though? I think it's big news because first of all, the first line of thinking was that it was staged, which was like
It definitely.
I guess I
wasn't.
could understand why someone might think it might be staged, just because that's what we do nowadays. That's what's done all the time nowadays. But there was literally no upside for anyone, including the Oscars. You know, so immediately I dismissed that whole. And then I was like, you know, Chris Rock made a joke about someone's wife that I didn't know that she had. What is it called?
Alopecia.
Alopecia.
Yeah, it's an autoimmune. It's caused by an autoimmune issue.
Right.
Disorder. Whatever.
I just thought it was a short hair joke at the time. When I found out it was because she had this autoimmune disorder or whatever, I was like, okay. You know, I still didn't see why it. I guess I could see an individual being like, oh, I'm a little offended by that. But I kind of don't care. I don't know. There's some reason, like, I just don't care if someone gets offended at a joke like that. Like, it wasn't like a kid came in a wheelchair who has no legs and someone's like, hey, stubby. Like, it wasn't that, like that kind of offensive.
And there's a lot of whataboutism going on with this, and I think it's to justify people. Yeah. No. You did with the Ricky Gervais thing, but whatever. It's an award. It's comparable because it's an award show. It makes sense. But what I think it is I think people are just trying to justify their level of rage, which makes them no better than Will Smith at this point, because they're looking for a reason to rage out. And yes, when you boil, like, if you dissect it, you do a post-mortem on the joke and you look at everything that went into the joke. On the surface, it's no big deal. Whatever, she's bald. Maybe Chris Rock didn't know. That's not true. He did know. Chris Rock also, there's a bit of a double standard people are calling him out on now because of the movie Hair that he put out in 2012 about how important a black woman's hair is to a black woman. So that, on top of the fact that, so there's a lot of layers to that, right? But on the surface, it was a joke, and it was a fucking, so they could have, Will Smith and Jada Smith could have come out as absolute fucking heroes here and made Chris Rock look like a piece of shit. They could have. He knew he was getting the best actor. He could have waited for his speech, or they could have simply stood up and walked out of the awards, which would have been even worse because he won Best Actor and he's not there to receive his award. So, like, there was so many other ways around it. So that's where it calls into question what's going on with Will Smith. Is this a problem with him? What's wrong with him? He was laughing, then he wasn't, then he was up and he was slapping people. So I don't know. I jumped into that Twitter thread that we were all in yesterday, and I think I kind of caught it between you and I as well. It's like, I'm not saying that Will Smith was right, but I'm not saying that Chris Rock was innocent either. And even though it didn't measure up, like, he didn't deserve to be hit. He deserved a chirp back or some sort of a response for sure, if that's what you want to do, because that's usually what comedians do. So,
no, I hear what you're saying. I mean, there are so many routes that Will Smith could have taken with that. They did a biopic of Venus and Serena's dad. What's his name again?
I can't. I just saw it on my. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's
right. But when they do listen, Chris, when they do a biopic on Webster, I'll put your name in the hat. Don't worry, buddy, or something. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Like something better than that. Hopefully,
go after him for his wife leaving him or something. If you want to get personal, you know what I mean. If you want to go back and whatever.
Now, if Will Smith wanted to really kill two birds with one stone, he could have gotten up after he got his Oscar and be like, "Yo, Chris, I'm sorry. I thought you were Jada." And then he could have really
torched himself, fucking went down with the entire shit.
I have a theory, okay? And here's my theory. Okay. My theory is that Will Smith is an abused husband. He's a mentally and emotionally abused husband.
I think on that page.
Yeah, we've seen it live. We saw it. I keep on forgetting who it was. Was it Oprah or someone? Whatever show they were on, him and Jada. And Jada is talking about I don't know if they're a little ambiguous whether or not they have an open relationship or not. We can just do what we want.
Yeah.
and it's for each other. Like it's all this riddle. But let's just say they do or don't.
We can just do what Jada wants.
Right, exactly. Because Jada's sitting there with Will in front of millions of people talking about how she fucked that rapper August and that it was so fucking, it was so fucking intense that like he nearly broke her back or something like that. And Will's just sitting here like this.
Yep.
Just like,
Yep.
So, and then of course, because we have a lot of people who I can't call Will Smith a cuck. First of all, it's one of those words that are like it's been branded as an alt-right word to describe anything left of alt-right, and so I wish it'd be fun to have that word back, but that word's gone as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But beyond that, if you're Will Smith and you're in a relationship with a person who has no quarrel with emasculating you in front of millions of people, especially when it comes to subjects about sex and her fucking other people and all that kind of stuff, you already have enough of a problem without having the world. And it was like 120,000 mentions of the word cuck yesterday and today.
And like, only 75,000 of those were the trucker convoy.
Yeah, right. and you have to be sitting there as listen. There's something visceral that I feel. I came walking away after all that shit, after thinking that Chris Rock did nothing wrong and that Will Smith was a fucking idiot for smacking him. I am now like literally now that the dust is settled, I'm like, I feel sorry for Will Smith. He's not even the one that got hit, and I feel sorry for him. I really do. I do
as well a little bit. But we make our own choices. You know, he chooses Will. And I said this yesterday. I said Will Smith loves Will Smith's money, and I think that, and then his kids are there too. So I think that's why he kind of kicks around. Plus, I don't know how much I think he cares about Jada fucking other rappers and stuff, because like, was he fucking Margot Robbie or no? There was a rumor he was doing Margot Robbie. So you know what? If he's fucking Margot Robbie, he doesn't care about Jada. I was having this conversation with Dean Blundell yesterday, and he said, I'd fuck Margot Robbie. I said, I'd fuck Margot Robbie.
I don't know.
Ashley chimed in.
Margot
Ashley
Robbie
says, I would fuck Margot
fuck
Robbie. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Who's Margot Robbie? Sorry?
She's the one that played the in the Suicide Squad, the girl. And
the blonde one?
The blonde one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would have it.
And he was in that movie.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I think the conversation last night ended up ending with Dean saying that he would watch me fuck Margot Robbie. That's how much he loves Margot Robbie. So,
I would watch Dean watch you just to see what Dean's face would look like.
Probably a lot of wonderment and confusion. I don't know. So I think it goes deeper than that. But again, this is all that they've been doing all day long, is what we're doing here now, which I said I fucking hate.
We're doing it better.
Now we're
Ryan.
doing it, but we are doing it better. We're having it. It's true.
We're talking about how much it sucks while we do it. There ain't nothing realer than that.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have crisis management fucking talking heads sitting here. Did you see his apology, by the way, that he put out on Instagram?
I read the apology.
Do you think that came from him, or do you think that came from a Navigator-esque type company?
Well, I think Will Smith has been around long enough to write his own bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? What he wrote was, I'll take an excerpt of it. Violence in all of its forms is poisonous and destructive. My behavior at last night's Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are a part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. That part right at the end there. If I was part of a crisis management firm, a corrupt institution like that firm that you mentioned, that I don't want to get sued by them, I would probably have left out the part about, but you fucking made a joke about my wife. Well, I would have left that part out.
It was the blame, and this is why they thought a lot of people are thinking that it was actually him that wrote it, was because when a crisis management firm writes an apology or does some spill cleanup, they never ever lay any sort of blame or shift blame towards the victim of the said whatever egregious action was. It always falls all on you with the apology, and there's no, but he did this or but they did this. So that's why some people are thinking it was genuine, to the point where somebody faked a Chris Rock statement last night, and he almost got me because I put an article out about stand-ups yesterday, and I think that's probably why Mike and Kenny don't want to talk to me today, because I was a little bit harsh with stand-up comedians and that. But
were you really?
Yeah, a little bit, but it wasn't crazy. And those two guys are not who I was talking about, and they don't act the way I was talking about the people. I'm getting tired of every time something comes up like this, there's a comedian somewhere in the world that has to go on Twitter or go on TV and say, stand-up comedy is the last bastion of true free speech. Like, shut the fuck up, please.
I agree with that. I fucking agree with that.
No, okay.
Well,
all right.
listen.
You tell me why, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, let's do it like that. Well, for real though, because there is. First of all, can I just say, like, when it comes to Navigator, like being a guest on some sort of media show, I'm gonna make this joke again because I don't feel it got the credit it deserved.
Sorry.
Navigator is comprised of a bunch of people who like to lick each other's private areas to tell each other how important that they are to the greater good. This is one of the guys at Navigator, and his experience includes kidnapping Jesse Pinkman in order to have him cook meth for him and the other biker. I don't know. I can't forget this motherfucker's name. But Jesus Christ, he looks exactly like
joke,
Todd.
Actually, now that you say
Look at him.
That's
like his name is Matthew Barnes.
Speaking of hair issues.
Yeah, right. Like, someone get this guy some alopecia. I'm sorry. Don't smack me. Don't smack me.
Don't smack me.
Anyways. Yeah. Sorry. What were you saying? The comedian. Oh, the comedian thing.
The comedians and the free speech thing.
Yeah. So the two highlights of my life when it comes to writing shit is both of the times that Ricky Gervais, once he sent me a little note, and the other time, and he retweeted something. Yeah. And then the other time he retweeted something. But one of the things that he retweeted was, in an Orwellian world. This is the headline. In an Orwellian world, only comedians can save us. And I still mean that. And the reason why I mean that is that people think that comedians are the ones that get away with pushing the envelope. That's true, but that's only half the truth. Half the truth. The other half is comedians are not there to show us what they can say. They're there to show us what we can say. They just deliver it better, right? So yeah. I don't think that they're. I think comedians are. I agree with that statement. I think comedians are kind of like, in a world of people getting canceled for saying stuff, in a world of like where keywords have become the enemy, not context, but the keywords. I think comedians are kind of like the yellow brick road back to Kansas. I really do. Like, what about that statement do you find so egregious or blood boiling?
The self-importance in the statement is kind of gross. And while it's not wrong that they're important to free speech, they are not the be all and end all or the bastion or the last bastion of free speech. They do exactly what you say. They give license. They do give license to a few things. And they also, I think all art is really important to opening our eyes and our viewpoints. Our narratives can be altered by a comedian rather than a politician. Easier, I believe. Our thought processes are a little more malleable when it's somebody telling us a joke about the absurdity of something rather than having a talking head or a politician on a podium reading from a prompter. So they do play an important role. I just don't think that any comedian worth their salt would go up and say that or try to make themselves out to be George Carlin in 1972 being arrested for profanity laws, which we don't have anymore. They're riding the coattails of those motherfuckers from back then. Now, and when they say the N-word or cunt on, I was told not to say cunt on your show, but I said it. Now I've said it twice.
Oh, that's not my rule. That's Dean's
No, it's
rule.
not. Yeah, I know. So I've done it twice. Hi, Dean. And now they give you a Netflix special for it. So, and millions of dollars. So don't play the hero card the way some do. And I'm not saying most. I'm just saying the ones that come out of the woodwork when shit like this happens immediately, and defend the Chris Rock, the assault itself, and saying it was an assault on free speech. No, it's not. It's a guy who was insulting his wife, and he got pissed off, and he went up. This has nothing to do with free speech. Nobody's coming to take your guns. Nobody's coming to take your speech. Everybody, shut the fuck up.
I agree with you 100%. I wasn't. I maybe I didn't hear you correctly. I didn't think this had anything to do with free speech. Nothing at all. I just think, apart from this issue, I just think in general, I do think comedians are literally at the top of the heap when it comes to reminding us that words are words, and unless they're threats of violence, then they're still just words. Can I
give you what I would have done if I was mayor of Scarborough, president of the world when this COVID shit started?
Yes.
I would have fired Theresa Tam. I would have fired whatever doctor we had in Ontario at that week. And I would have put 2 comedians up there and fed them the information. Here's what we need to tell them, but you need to tell it to them like people and be funny about it and tell them that we're fucked, but if we fucking don't fuck around, we'll be okay. And I'll guarantee you we wouldn't be in the mess we are today if we had somebody like that delivering the information.
First of all, you would have been called a racist for firing Tam.
That's true. I forgot about the woke crowd.
Do you remember that you were?
I would have got the guy from The
racist
Hangover
when we were. Yeah. The Chinese guy from The Hangover.
Yeah,
that guy?
I would have got him.
That'd be hilarious.
1 for 1. If you guys now you can't call me that.
Galifianakis or whatever. What's that guy's name again?
No. The guy, the doctor, the real, and he's actually a doctor in real life.
Right, but you could put him and then Zach Galifianakis. Is that? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Galifianakis. Yeah.
And then put Ferns between them just to like plug the show. All to say, well, we need to raise as much money as we can. So,
Well, tell me that wouldn't be a better idea for messaging than what we do now. This archaic fucking dinosaur method that we have that doesn't work.
Yeah, I think it would. I'd be all for. I mean, I know Phil Hartman is not with us anymore, but I'd get Troy McClure every time I needed to announce something to the Canadian public. I would just get
Ken
Troy
Jeong.
McClure
Thanks,
animation. What's that?
It's Ken Jeong. That was his name.
Yeah.
No, you're
I
right.
would get Troy McClure. Hi, I'm actor Troy McClure. You may remember me from such pandemics as SARS 2003. Who died? And also, like whatever.
Yep.
And then just like,
and you know who else? You know who else would have done a way better job? Al Franken in the States. If he was the president of the United States, Al Franken himself, they wouldn't be in the mess they're in now, and we canceled them.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't mind that if we drift to a different topic.
Sorry,
we don't only talk about this. I actually don't mind at all because the Al Franken point is really interesting because I first of all I don't think that he should have ever resigned. I think that was the weirdest resignation ever, and it was that if you want an example of cancel culture, because I know that people like to be like you're a lot of times you're in one of 2 camps. Either you're in like, there's no such thing as cancel culture. That's fucking stupid. Or you're on the other camp where it's like, everyone's getting canceled. And really, obviously, like everything else, it's sort of in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. Al Franken, to me, is like a poster child for cancel culture.
Yep.
The things that they said he did were like, not only were they mostly innocuous, but like one lady was like, well, we hugged. And I thought the hug lasted for a bit longer than it should have.
It lingered.
Oh my God.
There was an inappropriate linger, James.
He's got sausage fingers. It might have got caught in your belt loop or something. Like, who the fuck knows what happened? It's Al Franken.
That's
Jack
it.
Handy is not going to be handsy. It was
Stuart Smalley is fine.
Yeah.
No, I just think I think the messaging is what it and I'll loop it back into this. And this is every one of these talking heads on the radio today was asking, Well, does Will Smith work again after this? Well, he will if you stop asking that stupid fucking question and putting the idea in the head of people that they think that he needs to be canceled for this. Because as egregious as
that he won't work.
Exactly. And
he hit a black guy. Studios don't care about that.
You know, they complained. Remember, Jada complained in 2016 about diversity in the Oscars, and actually, that was what she boycotted. And this is where I'm saying Chris Rock is a better comedian than what he was on Sunday. And this also got me mad. And I wrote about this in that article. What made me mad was his joke in 2016 was brilliant. It was fire, and it was about Jada, because Jada, and this is why I say they have a history. Jada
they dated, didn't they?
I don't know.
Like
probably.
Forever ago?
Jada
Yeah.
Smith, she probably did. The joke in 2016, he said, Jada said she was boycotting it because it was like the all-white Oscar thing. They had the hashtag and everything
Oscar's
else.
so white or something.
Oscar's so white. That was it. And so she said, I'm quietly boycotting it because of diversity issues and hoping to bring awareness to that. And Chris Rock's first joke, who was hosting, by the way, in the non-diverse white Oscars, his first joke was, Jada's boycotting the Oscars, just like I'm boycotting Rihanna's panties because I wasn't invited there either. So
yes, I remember that. Yeah,
they have a history, right? And that's lighthearted, and what that did, and he ended up. Chris Rock expanded on it later because they've been replaying that clip as well. He expanded on it later and used it to bring attention to the fact that you know what, the Oscars aren't very diverse sometimes. We need to fix this, and Jada is right, and he used the humor to bring attention to the joke, or to use the joke to bring attention to the cause, which is his job. That's what he does for a living. That's why they hire comedians and not stiffs to host the Oscars. And so I don't know if that was something, and now we're back at the Oscars. Will Smith is unbalanced as it is.
It kind of felt like a throwaway joke. Like it felt like that wasn't on the teleprompter.
That's what I want to know, because how the fuck would they get that past the woke censor mob, producers, networks?
Well, they were probably like me, and they didn't
know
know that she had alopecia. They probably just thought she had short hair.
it was a bald woman joke.
Yeah, because it felt like the way that he delivered it. I can't remember the joke that he said right before that, but it almost felt like it almost felt like he just spotted her at the corner of his eye and was like, "Oh, Jada, Tank Girl 2, whatever the fuck he said,
G.I. Jane. Yeah.
Tank Girl 2 would be good too." But yeah, like there was and this diversity, and okay, I'll fully admit I'm still sort of late to the table. I don't fully buy the concept of equity, because I feel like if there's twins born to say they're white guys,
Okay.
they will not experience equity because of life choices. So how can we make equity a thing between all different types of people when, in my view, equity doesn't even exist between two people who have identical lives? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like twins could grow up, one could be really successful, the other could be homeless. So there's obviously no equity there, even though they are the exact same privileged demographic.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't know
were
how
they
you have equity
were they
between
given the
races.
same opportunity? And I think that's the whole point, right? It's starting from the roots and working its way up. I don't think it's the
it's
front-facing.
It's equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. Which unfortunately is the Jordan Peterson phrase.
And you know what? Listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. And Jordan did have a lot of poignant thoughts in the
5
past.
years ago.
Yeah. And he I don't know what happened, but he
Will
fell
Smith
off.
should smack him.
You know, if we're hiring him, I got a list.
Because I actually used to like Jordan Peterson in not in the way that like his fanboys like him. I was always at arm's length with Jordan Peterson because of the fanboys. I was like, Jesus Christ, like I never want to be confused for one of those. But 5 years ago, I interviewed him, and we spoke for like 90 minutes. He didn't say anything that I thought was controversial. I reviewed it like a month ago or something just to see. He was fine. At the time that he was to me, not controversial. He was saying, or people were saying a whole bunch of shit about him that was like, he's a fucking like racist and oh my God, he's awful and he hates women and da-da-da. And I was like, I'm not seeing what you guys are seeing. I'm trying to see it because you're telling me it's there.
Yeah.
And I've never seen, sorry for the whole aside thing, but I've never seen a guy get completely mischaracterized and then do everything in his power to become the exact thing that he said
People
he wasn't.
Accused him of. I know. That's the thing. I don't know. He's become some weird evangelical Christians like, and he doesn't even get the Bible right now when he meanders and goes on. Like he was with. Did you see the thing with Andy? No, that clip that's going around this morning.
I kind of didn't have the heart to look at it.
Oh
I know that
God,
he cried.
Yeah, like immediately he talked about Cain and Abel and broke down in tears. And people are this. The only reason why people are bad now is because they're angry at God. So he's lost.
Can you
the
be
plot.
angry at something that clearly doesn't exist? Like I don't really.
I don't know. You and I are one of the. These are those solid things that we do have together, James. That's one of them.
It's funny how me, you, Lachlan, and Dean are all completely anti-God. Like, there's not even any room for daylight.
That's the rope. That's the rope that holds us together. That's the tie that binds. Even though there are different, the knots are tied differently. That is the same.
Well,
rope,
are. The rope is made out of anal beads, and so
it is true.
We got it from Lachlan.
Big ones too, big ones,
like fists.
So, what do you think? Do you think it goes any further, or can we? I try to equate this to, imagine you're in a bar, and you see this happen between two other people. You're sitting at a table. There's two people at a bar. There's a man and a wife and a guy. And the guy insults the guy's wife. He gets up, smacks the guy, and then tells him, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." And it's a big. She's like, "Whoa, shit." Are you still talking about it to every single person you see fucking 2 days later, or is this just because it's Will Smith and Chris Rock?
It's just because it's Will Smith and Chris Rock. But I mean. It got to the point when people kept on unpacking it. All of a sudden, it was like there were white guys saying stuff like, "As a white man, I don't think it's my place to comment."
I saw the tweet that you put out. It was so funny.
I got blocked immediately from that guy. I was just like,
thank God. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to ever read anything from him again because. This is what I mean. We're inserting. Everybody wants to insert themselves, and this is what I mean about those comedians that I was mad at. Everybody wants to insert themselves somehow and make themselves a victim of what happened. Like Will Smith hit me. Fuck you.
Will Smith hit my bit. He smacked my bit right across the cheek.
Smacked my bit up.
Yeah, and it's funny. Will Smith has smacked some. I don't have the. I wish I just thought of it now, but I wish I would have thought of it before. Mm-hmm. Will Smith actually smacked a guy at the Cannes Film Festival. Do you remember that?
That's right. Yeah, I do remember that.
So just for the audience at home or whatever, people listening and watching, Will Smith was being interviewed on the red carpet at Cannes, and there was a guy. He was a French journalist, mm-hmm. and he went in for that like European double kiss on the cheek thing, and Will Smith immediately just was like, whoosh, just smacked him right across the face.
Yes.
And the guy was like, "Don't," and he goes, "Don't," and the guy was like, "Mon Dieu, zut alors!" Like Will Smith, calm down or whatever. Yeah. But at the time, I was like, the guy fucking sexual assault. If that's a girl, so you might as well give him a little smack. I don't know. Like I wouldn't have smacked the guy.
No. But again, it didn't make it. Well, it made news because we all heard about it, but it was literally a blip. Yeah. It was a blip, right? But it's the Oscars, the big golden trophy millionaire party. So everybody's pretending to be interested in it, and I just think it's everybody wants to be mad. Especially like the last 2 years, everybody just wants to get mad.
Well, poor Dave Chappelle. Look how many people got mad at him.
Yeah.
And is that racism? Okay, it's like I'm not trying to like create something that isn't it, but isn't it weird that like There's a certain crowd that I don't tend to get along with, and they're like the radical gender activist crowd, and they were all like,
"Don't pull me down this rabbit hole, you fucker."
I'm not going to, but that specific the fringe of that crowd were like, well, if Chris Rock deserves to get smacked across the face, then surely Dave Chappelle does, and it's like, what?
Is that his name, Shirley Dave?
Yeah, Shirley Dave Chappelle. And I was just like, well, how is that possible? Oh, because you're operating from the premise that it was okay that Chris Rock got hit and that Dave Chappelle makes jokes about a certain demographic and now he deserves to get hit.
Yeah.
And that's now where we are.
Isn't it funny that we're dissecting it to that level now? It's like slicing the genome to that level of a fucking nothing burger incident, you know? Yeah, it was shocking. It was wrong. Will Smith was wrong. Will Smith deserves to be, held accountable. He should have to apologize, which he has publicly to the public. I think he should go to Chris Rock and offer a hand and say, you know what, I'm so sorry. Just like men would do without a camera there.
I agree. And I think Chris Rock should be like, I'm glad you're sorry. I'm not.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree.
You've already hit me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he owes. I don't think he owes Will an apology. If anything, he would. And just thinking about how he normally operates, to what we see, I can't speak to knowing him as a person, but the public figure that we see, he seems like a pretty decent guy. And if people, even if it was overreaction on Jada Smith's part or Will's part, I still think he would be a bigger man and at least offer her a somewhat apology, or like, I didn't realize that, what was going, something along the, because he just seems like a decent dude. I just don't.
This is the photo that says it all for me.
I know.
Chris Rock goes, G.I. Jane 2, and Will Smith reacts like that. Exactly what you're seeing there. And Jada acts like that. And then Will Smith looks at Jada and
sees the face.
And all the things that goes through an abused spouse's mind went through his mind. I think this is a theory. I don't have any evidence except for every time I've seen them on TV together that he's an emotionally and mentally abused person. Have you? I don't know if anyone out there has ever been in an open relationship, or if anyone's better yet, if anyone's ever been in a relationship that seems to be heading towards its expiry date. I've been in this situation on both sides of this, where it's like you feel like you're the one that loves the other person, and you feel like the other person doesn't love you back, and how helpless and empty that feeling is when you guys are still technically together. Mm-hmm. I feel that anxiety from him for some reason. I feel like if they have some sort of agreement about open relationships, that she's fine with it and he ain't, but he doesn't want to lose her. Like, all of that could not be true, but there's something there where it's like she is in total control and he has none. That's how it feels.
Yeah. And not even that far. We've all been in that situation where you're at a party and someone tells an off-color joke and you're laughing, and then you happen to turn and see your spouse not laughing and looking very stern, and you stop laughing. You don't slap the person who told the joke, but you stop laughing, and you get uncomfortable because now you're like, oh shit, now she's pissed at me because I was laughing. She thinks I think that's funny, which I do. I don't know.
I would say a joke at the guy's expense. I would look at my wife. My wife's not happy, so I wouldn't be like, "Oh, you okay, honey?" Or I wouldn't be like, "No, I'm not thinking it's funny." I would just immediately be like, "Webster," or whatever the fuck. Like I would figure out a way to like make the joke not about her anymore, or get the spotlight off of her, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and if I think
I feel bad. I think he should be on suicide watch, dude.
I think
I'm not kidding.
Well, no, when you saw him at the after party, I think he's over it, to tell you the truth. But he's over doing the wrong thing, like he's fine with it now. He's okay with it. He's come to terms with himself while he was getting jiggy with it on the dance floor.
He should be smacked just for that song.
Oh my God. And how
Wild,
douchey
Wild
is
West.
how douchey is that to be dancing at a party with your song playing and you singing along and dance? Like, that's just so douchey. I'd be like, shut that off. Play something. Play Tupac or something. You know what I mean? Like, anything but me. I guess that's why the DJ played it, because he's like, well, I guess that's the only safe song I can play without hurting his feelings.
Well, Will Smith doesn't have to cuss on his record, so you could literally play any song from him.
He's the Jerry Seinfeld of rap.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I don't know. I changed. I was a little more defensive, like I say, of Jada Smith, not of Will yesterday. And then as the more I read about some, like, I didn't know shit about her really, but then reading, and you saw it a couple of times, it came up in the comments here tonight about the Scientology connection. Apparently there's
what? I don't even know about that.
Yeah, apparently there's a Scientology connection with Jada Pinkett Smith. She was heavy into it. They fund a school apparently that is tied to Scientology. And there's some mantras in Scientology which call for physical violence against other people. And they say that what happened was even though they may not be practicing whatever the fuck, I don't know. It's a very wishy-washy rumor. That's why I'm just calling it a rumor. It's not confirmed.
Yeah.
But
that would explain a lot, though.
Yeah, there's some mantras in there about asserting dominance with physical violence, and that's what that. And a lot of people are saying that escaped Scientology saw those traits in that reaction to such an asinine nothing burger. I'll say it again. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, there was there was a time, I think it was like 10 years ago, something like that. I think it was Oprah again. He was on a show, and it was like some of the most nauseating pieces of an interview I've ever seen in my life, where he's like, for me, I just wanted, like, the energy I want to exude is God's energy, because he feeds me, and I'm just sitting there like, are you fucking for real? Like, so I feel like he hasn't really been on, like, the cheese slid off his cracker like over a decade ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's been sort of and since then, look at all the shit that's happened. Like, I don't know, if I'm a celebrity and my wife, I mean, is Jada Pinkett even really a celebrity? She's a B-lister, right? Like, she's not an A-lister like he is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to diminish her career or nothing like that, but she's not, like, if you think of 100 female actresses who are fucking celebrities, she doesn't crack that list.
No.
Right? Like, so, but then all of a sudden the kids are literally being crafted into celebrities, right?
Yeah, like, remember his son got weird there for a long time. Social media posts that were just fucking weird, and
like, I mean, it has to be hard for a guy like Will Smith. He's 53, right? And like, I don't want to, like, I don't know how I'm gonna word this where people aren't gonna be like, you fucking asshole, but like, he comes from a background. Anyway. Yeah, well, he comes from a background. He's from, like, he's not the greatest neighborhood in Philadelphia, a hip hop background. Listen, homosexuality is not something that is promoted in hip hop. It's not promoted in rough communities. Like, it's just not, like, something that so when his son sort of, like, was seeming to, like, go in a direction of either bisexuality or maybe he was gay or whatever, he took that role in that really awesome Netflix hip hop drama series or whatever.
Yeah.
The Lowdown or something.
Yep.
I can't remember what it was called. And by the way, he did really well in that.
I was going to say, his kid is a great actor. He really is.
A phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
But it was, but the commodification of your kids, I don't know. It just felt so like it felt like at their house, it was like, no, let me tell you something. Your daddy is a star. Your mother, but your daddy is a star. We're going to make sure that you two, we're going to make sure you two are going to be stars too. And he kind of did. I don't know what the daughter does. Does the daughter do anything?
I'm
like,
not
she
even.
sings
I'm
or something.
Like Ray Routh was in the comments there. I don't keep up with the Smiths as much as I should, apparently. And I do feel unprepared to have this conversation when it comes to that, but I will speculate and just think that he's going through some things. Like, he really is. He is. It's on display. We all have friends, and we have all been that friend as well. We've all been that person where you watch somebody go through things. And it's just watching somebody going through things in a public. Like, I couldn't imagine having a camera on me 24/7 out front of my house, watching my marriage break down, watching my kids tweet weird fucking shit, and then having to ask me 40 questions about, is my kid on drugs? And, like, I couldn't imagine trying to navigate that, like, any sort of personal crisis in that venue. I'll say. And I just don't, so I'm not giving him a pass. I'm just saying it makes it more understandable why it happened. Not that it was okay that it happened, but this is a boiling point. And I think we've only scratched the surface on this guy.
Yeah.
Somebody
I would agree.
Somebody yesterday, I think it was Lachlan, had a really good theory of, there was also, and it goes back to your theory about the kids or about his role in the household. About, I think there's an air of comeuppance that he's been thinking he's been denied all these years for, like, when it comes to awards and credit, and the amount of work and things that successes that he has, but it doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. He's got a broken marriage, which he calls an open one. The Oscar should have been a highlight of your life. Because that's what you do. Like, that's like getting the employee of the month, isn't it? Like, if that's what you're proud of, good for you. You got your thing. You got your cookie.
Yeah.
Did it take too long to get here? Maybe. I don't know.
Didn't he didn't win for his
Beautiful Mind
depiction of Ali?
No, I don't believe he did. Somebody was saying that
Really?
the reason.
Oh, best supporting actor. Okay.
Yeah, and if and that should be in, not the one from Sunday should be in contest. The one from that Ali movie should be contested because of the hit that he put on Chris Rock. The way he hit him should invalidate any awards that he got from a boxing movie.
Well, you know what? What is that called? Slap happy? Or when people like, yeah. Lachlan was. Listen. It was funny because I actually messaged Dean this morning saying I really enjoyed listening to them two talk about the Will Smith thing because I thought they did it a little bit differently. Yeah. The only thing I would disagree with, one thing that Lachlan said, is that although I did like Will Smith's performance in The Pursuit of Happiness, I didn't think the film itself was good enough to give anyone that kind of award. But I was one of those guys that, like, when Ali was about to come out, I was like, I don't know, Will Smith as Ali? Fuck, I don't know about that. Dude, he killed it.
Yeah.
I thought he killed it. Like, it didn't sound like Will Smith impersonating Ali. And even if it did, it was like, who the fuck else would do a good job like that? Like as good of a job as he did. Like, I thought it was dope. I thought it was good.
Zach Galifianakis.
Yes. Fern? Yeah, you got two of them? Yeah, so anyways, I thought it was wow, this whole Scientology thing is taking me for a loop now. Now I just don't like Jada Pinkett even more now. Like,
I'm sorry to give you reading homework after this podcast, but it's interesting. That's for sure.
I get all my information from our chat overlay, so
that's right. Hey.
Unless you guys are going to be posting Wikipedia links, I'm not going to be doing much reading on it.
This is where the facts come from on the Blackballed podcast.
So the question now is, and we'll wrap up in a few minutes. But the question now is does Dave Chappelle have enough for his next special?
Seriously. This is 15 minutes in the next one.
Oh my God. Like,
yeah.
And Chris Rock has an opportunity too, to be like, he had a special. I'm not sure if it was his last one or the one before that, where it was kind of an intimate audience. And I was like, I don't really like this. Like, it wasn't the Chris Rock. Chris Rock did a special like a decade ago, And the entire special, when it was released on Netflix, was like he was in South Africa, then he was in Detroit, then he was in Chicago, then he was here. And it was like they took the 2-hour set or an hour and a half set and they put him in all these different cities each time he was telling a new joke. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. And it was like stadium of people. Chris Rock doesn't do the intimate thing that well, I don't think. But either way, when he has an opportunity when this next thing comes out to be like when his next special comes out to really address this, and I think you gotta go real with it, and I think you gotta start talking about Will Smith's motions and his mental kind of like deterioration over the years. I mean, shit, the guy smacked you. You owe him.
Yeah. But I have a feeling that there'll be a conversation between the two of them before that special comes up. And if Chris Rock is smart, he'll warn him and say, "I'm bringing this up, just so you know." Break the ice a bit there, and then that'll also ease the tension on what it is. But you know what's really funny that you mentioned Chappelle? I thought about this today too, and I thought Dave Chappelle is definitely gonna have something to say about it, and he's going to pontificate for a long while about the entire thing. And then we're all going to come out blaming Chris Rock because that's how Dave Chappelle works. Like he makes you think something totally like, I didn't fucking see that. Dave Chappelle's a fucking genius. So all of a sudden we're going to hate somebody totally different when Dave Chappelle's done with this entire thing. It's going to be great.
I have my money on Dave Chappelle being like, and it's hard being Will Smith, and then being like, You got tears in your eyes all the time if you're Will Smith. You just can't help yourself. It's just that you're always emotional. So maybe, just maybe, he thought he was slapping Jada. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
Something along those lines, probably.
Yeah. I've never done a Dave Chappelle impersonation before. Sorry about that, guys.
It was actually pretty solid. It was pretty good.
Oh, was that not bad?
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm having the only thing that I've found to be a rough time is reading Ray's comments, because if there's somebody on this network that makes me laugh more than you, it's Ray.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he should have come in this. That would have been great.
Ray, do you want to come in? Like, I'll still put you in. I'll send you a thing right now if you want to come in. That's no problem. Will Smith won an award for making a movie about the father of the most dominant female athlete of all time. He deserves to get slapped. I don't think I understand that. Okay, we're gonna you know what, we're gonna continue here, guys, because I'm gonna invite Ray in now. I'm gonna send it to your Twitter, dude, and because I'm dying to know what you got to say. Ray Ruth?
Yeah, Ray was on Dean's show yesterday, and it was good. It was a good conversation, and on Twitter has been fun as well. If my wife is listening, now that I'm staying, my drink is empty. If you could possibly pour me another drink, honey, that'd be great. That's why I like when you do live ones, because people actually can watch it live, and I can request things.
Okay,
it's nice.
Ray Ruth. Is that his? Oh, there he is.
Rout.
Ray Routh.
Dear
Ruth,
Pat's Nation. There he is.
There you are. Okay.
Thanks, dear.
We've never messaged before. My first message is the podcast link, so there you go. Yeah.
Ray's a great guy.
Yeah, he is, and he's the funniest CFL commentator of all time.
So you should bill him as
greatest
CFL commentator. I love that.
Ray,
there he is.
Fellas,
how are you, fella?
Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, we'll give you 1 second.
Still getting set up.
You look like a pack of baseball cards.
Oh, Peachy. That's what we'll call you. Oh, Peachy.
Right.
We'll just appropriate some more culture
here. Do you smell like
here.
gum and flour?
Dusty gum.
Do you remember that shit?
Oh, my God. It was like rock hard.
Yeah.
And it was
Big League Chew. Big League Chew. Did you watch the baseball documentary on Netflix? Big League Chew was an invention of these minor league ball players that played for Kurt Russell's father in like Portland or some shit. That was crazy when they turned that into like a $30 million company. Ray, listen, we'll start over in a sense. Give me your Will Smith. Like, give me your theory about what happened, why it happened, and what's going to happen from here on in.
All right, so I've had a lot of time to think about this. It's you can't stop. But I think for me, like, And again, I talked about this on Dean's show yesterday. I try not to go too deep into the mental health piece because of what I do for a living. It's hard to make a judgment. It's hard for me to make a judgment from that standpoint. But when you watch that sudden turn for him, which is why I thought for a long time that this whole thing was staged, except that Chris Rock had no fucking clue what to do and was all over with. Will Smith is definitely having some sort of I don't want to say breakdown. I'm trying to be cautious with my words, but there's mental health, and we've discussed this at work a few times. Like you just saw the snap. Like that wasn't somebody defending their wife. That's somebody who's just giving up on life. And if you've been looking at a lot of his stuff on Instagram, like it's all been his whole inspirational shit he's putting out. It's all about winning over your mind, and you got to beat the demons in your mind, and you can't. It's all about, and I think that he is struggling to beat what's ever happening in his mind right now. That's
from projection.
Yeah, that's my outside perspective. And the whole thing is like Jada has been on social media talking about her, disease that's making her lose her hair, and she's made jokes about it. Chris Rock says he didn't know about it. I think they know. They've known each other long enough, but I don't know. There's just a lot of it's just bad. It's a bad look for Will. But to clarify my comment, what I was saying before is what I got the biggest laugh out of this whole thing. So he finally wins Best Actor. He gets his reward, and for playing the father of the most dominant female athlete in the world, right? Let's not celebrate the most dominant female athlete, and I would put her up there as one of the most dominant athletes in the world that you could put beside any male athlete. Let's make a movie about it, but let's focus on her fucking father as the center point of the movie, and not the accomplishments of Serena Williams. And Will Smith wins an award for it. So again, like he should have got smacked just for that.
That's appropriation coming home is what that is.
Well,
it's just like appropriating somebody else's life and
familial appropriation.
My wife and I have been talking about this too, back and forth, and I said, like, Will Smith is also a guy who became famous because of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where every second joke was a fat joke. Right?
Uncle Phil. Yeah.
Uncle Phil.
Yeah,
every second joke was a fat joke. Every third comment he made was some sort of sexualization towards a woman, some sort of stereotype towards a woman. And it's like he's been doing this off-colored shit his whole life, and now all of a sudden he wants to be holier than thou. And I fucking hate hypocrites. Like, people are like, when I say shit, people are like, you're a dick. I'm like, yeah, I am. I don't pretend to be anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I am who the fuck I am. He's such a fucking hypocrite. That's why he bothers me so much. Like, I mean, dude, I was more embarrassed for him when Chris Rock was like, dude, it's a G.I. Jane joke.
Yeah.
Like it. And kudos to Chris Rock, because he took it. He acted like it didn't even affect him. He made Will Smith's slap look even more bitchy.
Dude, his coolness under that situation was the reason why people thought it was staged.
Yeah.
His professionalism was why people thought it was fake. But really, Will Smith knew as he was marching up that Chris wasn't going to be ducking, because Chris didn't think in a million years that Will Smith, who, by the way, is literally twice the size of Chris Rock.
And to what Ray was saying earlier about the if it was staged or if it wasn't. If it was staged, he wouldn't have been laughing, I don't think. I think he would have been prepping for that serious moment, and the timing would have had to have been perfect, and it was too erratic to be like, when they say it's too good to be, a movie, you can't write this shit. You couldn't write what happened there. Like, that wasn't.
How far in was it? Did anyone watch the Oscars? Like, how far in was the show when this happened?
It was 6 minutes before the Best Actor award, so that would have been close to the end.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty. It's why it was for the best documentary. Shout out Questlove. He won the award, and I think that's the whole thing. Ruined Questlove's moment. He wins an Oscar, and I love Questlove. I don't know if everybody follows his work as a DJ, as a musician, as a documentary maker,
as a music historian. He's fucking amazing to listen to.
So take away his moment, because of you. And a part of me gets it. And we were talking about this on the podcast last night. I screamed at my co-host last Friday to the fact that I hurt my throat, and because he didn't understand something I was saying. We were arguing about. So there's times when you have that moment of you just lose it, right? Like it's like he was there was other ththings going on that day with me, and then he was frustrating me, and then I just, it was just like, fucking listen, you know what I mean? Like it just, because he wasn't understanding what I was trying to say. So I get that, but at the end of the day, I know I'm kind of free on my podcast to do that. I wouldn't do that at work, right? Because if I did that at work, I'd be in front of human resources explaining why I was screaming at a staff member. You're at the fucking Academy Awards. The only event that gets watched more than the Academy Awards is the Super Bowl. Like you're the second most watched show in the world.
53 million, they said, was the estimated view count for Sunday night. It was 53 mil.
And you're telling me out of everything that's been thrown at you and said to you, that was it? Like that was the snapping point in front of 53 million people? So that's why there's still a bit of me, the conspiracy theorist in me is still like, oh man, it's gotta be fake. You know what I mean? Like
there's no upside. Literally,
there really isn't. Nobody wins.
No, and that's the thing, right? Chris wins. Dave Chappelle loses. Dave Chappelle was the biggest loser in this whole thing. That's the unfortunate
but
part
he'll
of it.
win. He'll win in the end.
Oh yeah, he'll get it back.
This is an investment. This is a long play for Dave Chappelle for sure.
That's right.
Maybe Dave Chappelle set this whole thing up.
Or what's funny to think of? Like if Dave Chappelle made the joke, what would Will Smith do in that situation? Because I don't think it's walk up on stage and smack Dave Chappelle.
No, because Dave Chappelle would have smacked you back. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. Well, Dave Chappelle is also built probably as well nowadays as Will Smith is, right? So it's like,
Dave is jacked.
Did it not remind you, Ray? I don't know if you, Ron, you might be familiar with this. Ray, probably a better chance you might be familiar with this clip from, I don't have the clip, sorry. I'm just thinking of it now. But the Breakfast Club clip when Birdman was on it going, put some respect on my name, or whatever the fuck he said.
On my name, yeah. Put some respect on my name. Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of, like
it was.
Get my wife's name out your mouth. And I was just like, if I'm Chris Rock, I'm just like, I don't know what's in your wife's mouth, but it certainly isn't my name. Like, or something. Just fucking you got something. Just got smacked.
Because and he did. Will shifted into that actor mode really quick from deranged human being to actor. And that's what that was when he was sitting there with that stoic, stone cold face while he was screaming at the same time. I don't think that was a man at a breaking. I think the breaking point was over, and now he realized, I think, a little bit of what he had done. And I noticed that the camera didn't show Jada after that either, which was odd. I would have liked to see how she was reacting. Like she wasn't trying to calm him down, which any wife, even if somebody. And this is another thing you think about that abused spouse syndrome analogy that we've got going on here. If it was your wife, think about this. Something goes down, you react, you overreact to it, and then you keep going. Even though it was something that was egregious against your wife, wouldn't your wife be trying to stop you and just pull you out and be like, okay, enough, no, enough. And we didn't even see her.
If I would have done what Will Smith did last night in front of an audience of 3 people, I would still be hearing about this today, about how I've ruined her life and embarrassed her for everything. I mean, she warns me before I go on my podcast, don't say anything that I'm going to have to hear about at work tomorrow. Don't be that asshole. No, I totally agree with you. It's such a... But we wouldn't do that. Honest to God, guys, and listen, I can get over emotional about things, right? But I have enough sense to understand where I am in the moment, where I am in my life, which is why, to me, there's some key indications here that there's a disconnect between his, the decision-making part of his brain and the emotional part of his brain. And what's happened is too, though, because of their open relationship, which I don't believe he wants, I think it's her, and he's sort of said it in other words. That's the way she grew up. I grew up differently, but I think one of the bigger pieces, the ridicule that they've opened themselves up to, with that combined with this. I mean, listen, this made me laugh out loud, and I can't remember who said it. I'm sorry, but it was a Denver Bronco player who tweeted out, "Will Smith is a bigger man than me because I never would have defended somebody else's woman." You know what I mean? And I nearly died when I read that. And it's the prime example of what they've opened themselves up to with this situation, not just because of the whole open relationship thing. And honest to God, guys, I don't keep up with the Smiths either, Ryan. Just so you know, I'm too busy with the Kardashians, right? So,
right.
but
yeah, there's only so much time in a day.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know about the open relationship until I read it on Twitter yesterday. So that just opened up a brand new avenue for me to be like, dude, I got jokes for 4 days over this now. You know,
I can't believe that a couple in an open relationship are experiencing problems.
Yeah,
I can't. A couple that openly admitted on international television that they're in an open. On fucking Oprah. Exactly. It's Oprah. There's uncontacted tribes in this world that saw that episode. You know what I mean? Like there's not everybody knew. So if and for some reason it was, I think that was and again, if it's the same PR people that are writing his apologies, they should be fired too, because was it because she was found out to be cheating? So they thought, let's go on Oprah and tell them everything. Why not just say, yeah, she fucked around on me, we're working on it, everything. Then people feel bad. Okay, give them space. Sorry, guys, whatever. You literally took a gossip rag diamond and exploded it into a mine of diamonds for assholes
you know what
like us.
I wish Will Smith would have done yesterday, and I mean this with all my heart. Mm-hmm. Because listen, he fucked up, and he was damned if he did, if he's damned if he didn't. If he didn't apologize yesterday or today or sometime this week, he would have got blown up for not apologizing.
For sure.
Yesterday he got blown up for apologizing. We see it on a constant basis, and I say that even when it's the biggest piece of shit. If Randy Hillier came out tomorrow and apologized, nobody would accept it. People would say it's bullshit. People would say, you know what I mean? But then I was going to turn around and go like, well, fuck, you all wanted an apology. Now you're getting the apology. Now you're upset about the apology. Like, fuck, like you can't win.
Hate the apology, period.
Yeah, you can't win. I wish he would have came
out
out yesterday and said, listen, I fucked up. He pissed me off. I slapped him. Chris, I'll see you on another side. We'll have a drink. The same way we would. If I slap Ryan, it's how we'd, Ryan, I'm sorry. Fuck it. I fucked up. Can we have a beer? Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
That's it. Not this whole, I'm not perfect. Of course you're not fucking perfect. None of us are perfect. The whole world knows it. Just say I fucked up. Why do you have to write a 2-paragraph apology? Just say I fucked up. Sorry.
This is where James and I had analyzed the wording of it, and it seems like it wasn't written by a professional crisis management team because of the fact that he didn't just do it that way. Because then you turn the onus on the victim at that point to accept. And if you don't accept, then you're the asshole now, even though you did nothing wrong. Yep. And it's a shitty PR move, but it works, and it would bring the two of them back together, I think. Anyway, sorry, James. I know you were saying something there.
Oh no, it's okay. First of all, I think the PR apologies could all just fuck off. The only person that's ever done, that's ever like made a public apology that I've been like, that's a dope public apology. See if you can remember who this is. These stories are true. At the time, I said to myself that what I did was okay because I never showed a woman my dick without asking first, which is also true. But what I learned later in life, too late, is that when you have power over another person, asking them to look at your dick isn't a question. It's a predicament for them. And that was Louis C.K., obviously, who clearly did not get any PR person to help him with that, right? No. And nor should he have, because what he did was like, this is what I did. I showed them my dick, and I shouldn't have showed them my dick. And that was like basically the gist of the apology. And it was like, even if you still thought Louis C.K. was this, that, the other thing, that is an honest apology.
Yeah.
On the other side of the spectrum is the Tiger Woods apology. You remember that shit?
Yes.
From like 10 years ago where he was like,
side.
I have embarrassed my fans, my sponsors. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You got caught shagging porn stars, and now you're getting a divorce. That's all. What you know is an apology to your wife off air. And no one has to hear it.
That guy publicly apologized because his wife beat him with a putter, which forced him to crash his car into a tree. So he felt the need to make a public apology. Like, let's face it.
I forgot about the putter.
Yeah, yes, you're right. The apology should have been to the wife. Yet he felt the need to publicly apologize because he got beat up with a golf club by a 12-pound supermodel. Like, just.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to the tree I hit. The squirrels.
I'd
that
like
were
to.
displaced
I'd like
by
to.
my
I'd like to
carelessness.
say. I'd like to say I'm sorry to my future ex-wife, whom I haven't met yet, but I'm sure any day now I will.
Yeah.
You know, if I was ever going to get divorced, though, that's how I'd want it to happen. Like my wife chasing me out of the house with a golf club, because it'd be a
Yeah.
good fucking story to bring up to people. Like, you'll never believe it, guys. She came in with that 7-iron, and shit just went down. I drove the Cadillac right
From
into
what
the
I hear, Ray,
lamppost.
from what I hear, Ray, she's usually used to a 9-iron.
She likes the 9.
Yeah. That's when Ray comes up and smacks me, and then I become famous, right? That's how it works now,
See?
isn't it?
That's, you know what?
guys? Never apologize
No.
in front of a camera,
Ever.
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 God,
Because
you need to.
you make that apology behind closed doors, and then when the press does hound both of you, you just say, we worked it out. And if both parties are saying, yeah, we worked it out, then the story dies. The story goes away.
Yeah.
I don't think either of them wants to. I don't think Chris Rock wants to lengthen this any more than it has already. Like 48 fucking hours, and nobody has stopped. And we're guilty of it. We're doing the same fucking thing right now.
Yeah, but we're
It
doing it
doesn't
better.
go away. You're
We're
I'll
examining the
acquiesce.
spousal abuse angle.
You're right.
You know, like
and
we're trying to figure out.
we're
what's going- what's-
victimizing. We're making.
I think
Will
Jada
Smith the
Pinkett
victim.
is the villain in this story. I really do, and that's not misogyny or anything like that. I think that she is.
I know
to
it's
blame.
coming. Oh,
I know it's
they already
coming. I
had
don't
hair
give
and
a fuck.
makeup done.
And guys, by the way, the only people that should be able to make jokes about about their spouse is their spouse. Like, for all the jokes that I've said on my podcast and on Dean's podcast about my own wife,
Yep.
I mean, we make jokes about each other all the time that people would be like,
Same with Ashley and I.
holy shit. Like,
Yep.
like I used to encourage my wife when she had our second child and stopped lactating. I'm like, honey, if you want to drive in the carpool lane, just put your tits in the car seats. You'll be fine. You know, and she was like, that's a great idea, because when you know someone well enough, you can get away with those kinds of jokes, right? Like that's the kind of thing that you do.
And that's exactly it. Ashley and I have we've been okay. She's gone through it her whole life. Like I used to watch her and her mother. Her and her mom used to be the shit they would say to each other, because it's more friends than whatever as adults, right? And it was like, you can't, I know that you guys are buddies, but you can't say that to your mom, and your mom can't say that to you. It's
no
not
rules.
a thing. But then I listen to the way we talk to each other, and it's the exact same thing. And we're husband and wife, right? So it's,
You gotta have fun with it. So my wife is Russian, and she's just been devastated over the whole Ukrainian war. However, the Russian bot jokes that fly around my house, right? Like
I was going to say, there's no way you're letting that go.
Like this war, at least in my household, has been a never endless supply of Russian jokes to
Content.
make towards my
Does
wife
she ever-
and children. And it's just like it's
Does she ever walk up to you and go, "You are like a piece of steel"?
oh no.
You don't take her. If anything, I just say don't take her for a drive in the country to calm her down, because once she sees a tractor, she'll probably.
No. She'll take me
out
for
a
a
bit.
drive in the country. She's the Russian one.
That's right.
What is that called? That Sopranos episode, The Woods.
Oh,
there? Where they-
long-term parking.
Yes.
is that what it's called? Yeah.
That was the one.
Oh man, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That whole the whole thing is just whacked out. And I agree with you. Never ever apologize on camera. Do it. I'll use a prime example. A few weeks ago, I made an off comment that NFL fans are racist. I generalized everything, and I got a lot of pushback for it. And I had some of my peeps telling me I should go out there and clarify what I meant and say, like it wasn't you. And so I came
didn't
out.
mean it. I meant NASCAR.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sorry.
So I came out and I said, and my producer almost died when I said it. I thought he was going to quit on the spot, but I came out and I said, listen, I want to, yesterday I made a generalization that NFL fans are racist. And if you were a white guy and you were offended by that, you probably fucking are. So, I don't apologize to you. Anybody who looked at that and said, oh, he's not talking about me. Well, there you go.
Yeah, there's a difference between clarification and apology, and a clarification is not an apology, and people need to understand that I meant what I said, and this is what I said, and let me fucking slow it down for you. If you were too fucking cognitively fucking delayed to catch it the first time. Here it is again. You did make a sweeping generalization, mind you.
I did.
But then you clarified it. So
like, you people that are smart enough would understand what I was saying.
Yeah.
In the context of what I said the NFL is racist. Like that was just sort of like, anybody smart would have caught on. I didn't come out of nowhere. We weren't like, yeah, Tom Brady, NFL fans are racist. And yeah, like in the contents of our conversation, I said NFL fans are racist. And the smart people got it because ones who were defending me on Twitter were like, he wasn't calling you racist, stupid, but obviously he is. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't going to explain, well, you're not racist, but you are. You know what I mean? You're not.
What are CFL fans, Ray?
Oh, CFL fans. By the way,
they wear helmets too.
I've got a clip of Dean.
Yeah,
I saw this,
and it's relatable to the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all the shit that my audience could have asked me to call him on, someone sent me this clip, which I'd never seen before. Besides the fact that it looked like he took a hit of speed right before he did it. He's talking about the CFL in a very friendly way. So I'm going to bring him on my show and make him explain himself, because you will not find a friendly clip of me talking about the CFL.
When is this, Ray?
I got to reach out. I'll reach out to him tomorrow and find out when he can come on.
I've heard this clip though. I've heard it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, make sure that I know when this is happening, so that I'm the one that has the keys to all the social accounts. I'm going to clip your show like we clip our show.
Yes.
And I'll make sure that it goes out.
Yeah. So I have the clip on my phone right now. I'll DM it to you, so you'll be ready. I'll tell you. Wait till I have him on.
Oh,
and then you can just fucking release it. But
absolutely.
Because you know what happens. Like I joined the network, so my audience starts watching him, and and when I tell them I'm on, they go watch, and they're like, "Oh, you guys shit on the CFL all the time," but I shit on the CFL on my show, so it's nothing new. Now I just have people who understand, because I'm all Americans on my show. No one even knows what the CFL is. So the fact that you guys understand it, it's even better. And then someone looked him up and found this, and he's like, "Hey Ray, what the fuck is this? Send me the clip." And I clicked on it, and I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
That's beautiful.
Phenomenal.
I don't. James knows the clip, but I don't, and I cannot fucking wait to see this. This is going to be. So
I don't want to spoil then for anyone what the clip is, but it's just so hilarious to listen after listening to Dean for years. Just like fucking CFL, what's that? I don't fucking care about the CFL. Blah, blah,
and
blah,
it's energetic too.
Oh, it's great.
Like I said, like his eyes are bugged. It looks like he just took a hit of meth right before he came out and fucking did it. It's phenomenal.
You didn't think Dean was capable of bullshitting before you see this clip, you'll walk away going, "He's the king of the bullshitters."
Well, do you remember that episode, James? I think you were on with us when we caught him with the Arby's thing.
Yes.
Where he was talking,
it
was like during the first days of the Dean Blundell podcast. It was way before our time, way before my time.
When it still sucked.
When it was the original format, when it was like, as bad as it was, but it was so bad it was good. But there was a clip in there.
I mean, when Dean's on, it's worth watching. But like the show has come a long way. Let's put it that way.
We've got and what I love is we've got a really cool fan base of people that are pretty loyal. They show up all the time in the comments, but they also go back and watch a lot of the old shit. So we got a DM the one day about Dean praising the love of his love for Arby's, even though he shits on Lachlan all the time for liking Arby's. And it's the same idea, right? So I can't wait. Like, these are my favorite things in the world to watch when Dean gets called.
Yeah.
I wanted to circle back. So much fun.
I wanted to circle back really quick to what Ray was saying about apologies, because you know who taught me never he called. So I was going to interview this person, and then after the interview he called me on the phone. It was Jordan Peterson, and was like, James, I just want to give you some advice. And I'm like, what's that? Never apologize. Do not apologize. And the reason why is because my favorite rapper growing up called me a racist on Twitter.
I remember that.
Yeah. So for writing that Black Lives Matter piece, and there was like a day where I was like contemplating just being like, rather than have Chuck D call me or like think I'm a racist, maybe I should just apologize and just move on, even though I didn't feel like I had anything to be sorry for. And then Jordan Peterson he was basically like, yeah, never apologize for something that do you believe what you said? I'm like, yeah. He's like, then don't apologize. And this is like pre-insane Jordan Peterson.
Do you know Jordan Peterson? Like, is he okay?
No.
Like,
no, he's not okay anymore. No.
Like I used to actually really like Joe. Like I love people who can speak. I can love people who can speak, and he just the last year, maybe even say 2 years, has just been it's been bad. It's been
yeah.
really...
I was saying to I've been saying to Ryan, I think I said this to you. I said this to a bunch of people lately that he's become the caricature that he was falsely accused of being years ago. He has now grown into the exact thing that he wasn't, but was accused of being. It's so strange to see. It's bizarre, because like at the beginning it was like the boiled down point that he had was like, why are you forcing me to use certain words when we haven't actually established that this whole gender spectrum is real? That was sort of what he was saying, in a sense. He was calling it compelled speech. And he had a point as far as legalese goes, as far as like the law goes. There's free speech, and then
he became a compelled persona.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't exactly a compelled personality disorder or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, but at the time he was right. We didn't have anything that we had to say on our laws, and this would have been a precedent-setting thing if we had to like use words that we didn't necessarily believe were legitimate or whatever. However you feel about the issue is sort of beyond that. But now he's like the worst kind of Mississippi tent preacher now. You know? I feel like he's any day now he's going to be like, well, I never said snake oil was a bad thing to sell, so I'm selling it. You know? Like,
well, Ray, you saw the clip that obviously today, right?
Yeah,
with him and Andy No. James hasn't seen it yet,
but I've seen him cry like a half a dozen times, so I don't know if I have to see it.
But James does, and I totally understand it. It's one of those, somebody that you respected, and same with, like, you probably had the same feeling today, Ray, was like it's almost like that person's dead, and this is a horrible facsimile of the replacement that they've put in the chair. And you're like, you're doing a terrible job. Bring back the old guy.
Well, that's exactly what it was. I mean, it's, you know.
It's like he got red pilled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like in a way, like I don't know if the audience understands what I mean when I say red pill. It's got a flexible meaning, but the basic meaning is that something happens where all of a sudden you open your eyes and you notice a lot of weird shit happening in social justice realms about what you can say and what you can't say, and you realize that like, oh, I should be able to say all these things. I don't even know if I'm explaining it right, but it's basically a way to wake up and think that like, turns out the left is batshit, so I guess I'm a conservative now. Is I guess a poor man's definition of being red pilled.
He was asked about Antifa. Like that was the part that whacked me the most out. Why is Antifa violent? And I think that whether you're left or right, unless you're an extremist, most people, you know, look at Antifa in a certain way. But he's like, why are they violent? And then he got into the God thing, which didn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. It was Cain and Abel.
I didn't understand. Listen, as you guys know, I'm Christian. I don't want to get into that conversation.
He got the Bible. He got the Bible part wrong, right? Did he not?
That's the part I like. So it made no sense to me, right?
Okay.
Because he wasn't getting there. This wasn't Cain and Abel, so that made no sense to me either. Like this, the analogy.
What did he get wrong? Did he make Cain and Abel like Fox News broadcasters instead of brothers? Like what was this?
He basically said that the murder happened because it was a defiance against God, but it wasn't like when Cain and Abel wasn't a defiance against God. It was a jealousy of his brother. That's how the murder happened, right? So he didn't even make the analogy correctly, because he basically said, well, Cain and Abel, and Cain defied God and was, didn't want God's way, and I was like, no. He was jealous that his father and God had blessed his brother, and he killed his brother out of jealousy. It's the real first story and lesson of jealousy,
right,
in the Bible. So I'm like, so he got that wrong. And then when he choked up and started crying, I was like, I didn't even laugh. Like usually I laugh at that shit. Like I didn't even laugh. I was like, this is because listen, I'm a fan, not of his politics, but I'm a fan of Ben Shapiro. And Peterson's another one of this. I love guys who can talk. I love guys who can kill you in an argument, even if you still don't agree with them, and Peterson was like that, right? Well, no, you're calling me, he's great at so you're calling me sexist. Why? You know what I mean? You asked me this question with no context behind it and just throws it around. And Then all of a sudden the lady's like, well, I guess I'm not. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And Ben Shapiro's amazing. And I, whether I agree with people or not, I love people who can talk, and I love to listen to them talk and have these arguments with people and just destroy them.
Yep.
And I love when they meet their match. To watch Peterson I was like, what the fuck happened to you? You know what I mean? Like, you used to be a rock. Nothing shook you. It was. Yeah. I mean, I still listen. I listen to his university lectures still. You know what I mean? Like, they're brilliant. Some of them.
His historic stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. Like his past, when he was straight and everything was fine, he was a brilliant mind. But it's been corrupted by whatever. I don't know if it's
fame.
You think it was? I think it's a mixture. I think
he's
it's a
the most famous right now. He's probably the most famous. He's certainly the most famous university professor in the world right now. Yeah. Now that he's no longer a university professor, I would say he's probably in the top 5 of most world famous public intellectuals, with people like Sam Harris. You know what I mean? People like that. It's funny that you mentioned Ben Shapiro. I've also interviewed him. And it was like the worst interview I've ever conducted in my life, which is why I've never released it.
Oh wow!
Right, but it was
just
like
because he
because of him or because of you.
Well, it's because we went into a subject that was like completely out of my league, and I was like, I think he was talking. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but it was like something like free will or something, and then he went off into like a little aside, and I was like, you mean like black holes? And he's like, no, I don't mean like black holes. Like, he gave me that Ben Shapiro snark. You know what I mean? And I was like, fuck. But I like Ben Shapiro. I know what you mean. I think fame really impacted. I think he started to believe his own hype.
Peterson? He was drinking. Yeah. He was smelling his own farts.
And it was right around the time where he said that you can't do that, which was hilarious. He was always like, the important part is that you keep your feet on the ground. Blah, 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 blah. And then, like, it was almost like immediately, as soon as he said that, he's floating off into the air like Mary Poppins, like.
But I can, what? It's funny though, because first of all, he's brilliant, and I mean beyond brilliant. Like, there's actually, you guys are brilliant at times, you know what I mean? But like, he's like actually brilliant, right? And I think that when you get to that level of smart, I always compare people like him to the Joker, the Batman figure. Like, people think that he's psychotic, but the Joker's mind is worse psychotic. You know what I mean? Like, the world outside of him is crazy, not him. And I think
Randy Hillier.
Yeah. So I think you get this guy who's overly smart. You know what I mean? Like, overly smart.
Oh, never mind.
You add in the fame. Well, I saw what you did there. Good for you, Ryan.
I love you.
Right, but you throw in the fame, and then this sort of snowball effect starts to happen. I can talk from a stupid perspective. So I'm not the smartest person in the world. I have a master's, but I'm not the smartest person in the world. I got to throw in the master's before I call myself stupid, right? So
Jesus Christ.
Just to shit
on
that.
Hold on.
That dick
Can I just say how
brave
brave it is, Ray? Can I just say how brave it is, Ray, to admit that you're not the smartest person in the world? But please go on.
No, please tell us more about your master's.
Smartest in this room, but not the. No, I was kidding. No, but in the room. I'm smarter than you.
I don't care who you pointed to. That was funny.
I pointed to myself, so it's because I'm the vain guy that has pictures of himself behind him.
That's right. That's why we love you.
Yeah. But I always say, right, nobody loves me more than me. But when I joined the Blundell Network, my wife has said to me that she sees a difference in my podcast since I've joined the Blundell Network, because I went through a really bad stretch of, I joined Sportscaster, I joined Colorcast, I was getting, brought on to all these paid networks. And when I joined this network over a different, which is a really big football network, I took this one over a paid gig, and I've been open now that I don't get paid for Demo. It's more of an amplifier thing, and I took this over a paid gig because the other one had a no compete on there, and I was like, fuck that, I came over here because I'm me. Like, this is me, and I want to be me, and I want to just, and anytime I went anywhere, I got constricted. You know what I mean? Like, I got like, you can't say this, you can't say that. Dude, I work for Newsbreak Date. Sometimes I get edits back. Hey, Ray, we didn't like your tone. I'm like, my fucking tone. You didn't like my tone?
How do you like my tone now?
Jesus Christ. I'd never get a job anywhere again.
No shit.
No, but what I get at is I'm
barely surviving here.
James is in his bathroom with a fucking hairbrush in front of the mirror.
Still on probation. It's been 2 years. My probationary period still ain't over.
what I'm saying is I've gotten empowerment just by being a part of a network, going on a show a couple of times of a former radio DJ that I loved, by the way, when he was on the sports sec. And the funny thing is even before I joined the network, half the shit I do on my podcast, and I've told him this, I stole directly from Dean, like clapping for audience guests and this and that. And he had interviewed Goose Gossage once and just fucking destroyed him. And from that moment on, I was like, that's who I gotta be. Right. Like, and
Because
I
of the
started.
mustache?
No, I didn't want to be Goose. No, Goose it was after the Batista bat flip. And Goose was all upset about the Latin players ruining the game. And Dean fucking destroyed him on the radio without swearing, without this, but just brought him for an interview, destroyed him, basically hung up on him. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I remember it finished like, all right, Goose, thanks. Done. And I was like, I remember I listened on the way to work. I was like, fucking brilliant. So I joined this network. And then my wife says to me the other day, or a couple months ago, she says, you know, sometimes it's like you're trying to act like a shot. Like you start saying things you wouldn't say before. And I'm like, no, I feel fucking empowered to say it now because I can go on my podcast and say whatever the fuck I want. And Dean's basically told me, as long as I stand by what I say, he's going to support me. If I say some racist shit, he's going to destroy me. And you know what I mean? Like there's an understanding here. That's me on a very micro level of fame. You know what I mean? Like, or a micro level of having a platform. You look at a guy like Peterson, who's now got this monster of a platform in front of him. He's got fans. He's got people he hates. And we all know the haters are just as good as the fans. As long as you're clicking on the videos or clicking on the podcast, it's fucking, I win, you know?
Yeah.
Guys are like writing my comments right now, like, I fucking hate you. I'm like, thanks for the support, dude. Because you'd say it every night, which means you're clicking on the video every fucking night. Appreciate it. So
I love doing that to people. They fuck you, DeFury. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Love
yeah.
you.
Yeah. I tell people right now, I'm like, hit the dislike button. Any engagement helps. You know, if you don't like it, smash the engagement button because YouTube looks at the engagement.
Yep.
You put that. So if I can feel this empowerment or a little bit of like, fuck it, I'm a part of the Blundell Network. What the fuck are they going to do to me? You know what I mean? Like type of attitude. Imagine fucking being this untouchable, fucking brilliant mind who millions of people listen to. I could see someone snapping easy under that because I think there's a pressure there now. Even if you don't feel it, there's this pressure that's just going to weigh and it can just snap.
Yeah, fame is funny like that, isn't it? Like, and this kind of even can allow us to circle back to Will Smith in a sense because he's been famous since he was what, 16, maybe something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
17, and what fame does. Look, when I lived in Los Angeles, a friend of mine, he basically managed nightclubs. I think there was like 4 nightclubs that belonged to this one conglomerate, this corporation, and I wrote DJ bios and fucking press releases for these clubs, right? And we ended up hosting this after hours bar twice a week, and what we found was that all these siblings of famous people used to come and hang out at this bar. And I didn't know any of this, right? So I'd be hanging out with these people for like, you know, twice a week for like 3 months or something like that. And then, you know, we were doing a bunch of blow one night. We went to the back room and I'm back there. And there's this guy that I've been hanging with for like, you know, 2-3 months. And I'm sorry, I forget his first name, but I ended up finding out that he was will.i.am's brother. And I was just like, and so I was careful not to be like asking him questions about will.i.am and stuff like that. But he would offer a lot of stuff to me. And then I was comfortable enough to ask him. I'm just like, are you bitter? Like, I'm just wondering, are you bitter?
The sibling thing? Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing a pile of blow with me. You don't seem to have much going on. I'm just curious if you're bitter or not. and he's just like, yeah, I am. But you'll never guess why. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me why. So now, again, this could be bullshit. But if we take him for his word, some of the songs that apparently will.i.am put out with Black Eyed Peas were songs that he used to sing to will.i.am as his big brother when his little brother was like 6, 7. And that when he grew up, these songs that he used to sing him became pieces of hits. And his brother was like, he always wanted to go on tour with him just to hang out. He would never will.i.am would never let his brother be part of his entourage, and then just basically cut him off, not financially because there was never any financial, but just like cut him off, like just
that's
like
garbage,
you know. And
if true, that's garbage.
Let's just pretend it's true just for this conversation. That blanket called fame it ruins famous people. It ruins their families. It can ruin like fans because fans get caught up in other people's fame. Have you ever seen someone that has been truly starstruck before? It's fucking gross. It is gross. It is not. It's poison.
Especially if it's actually in a setting where you're with other people. And I have seen this because my previous life, I used to do a different job where I got to meet a lot of pretty big name people and up close. And it's tough for people that, and I used to be able to get friends to like, hey, you want to come and, you get a chance to meet. It's like I have the best Joe Walsh story in the world. Joe Walsh showed me his hat that Stevie Ray Vaughan gave him once. And that was the only time I've ever felt starstruck and speechless.
Glad you said hat.
Yeah, I didn't know where you're going.
It was a euphemism.
Jim Walsh showed me his big 10-gallon hat. It was crazy.
That Stevie Ray gave him.
That's Stevie Ray. That's right. So it was, and watching people completely, I get what you're saying right away as soon as you said it, James, because I've seen it. They'll throw away absolutely every piece of integrity, anything they've ever held important to themselves. Yeah. While they're in the midst of this person that they're, having their Bieber moment with or their Beatles mania moment with, like their own child could be there and they would step on their child's head to get closer to that star. And it's disgusting. You're right.
Well, if you guys tune into the Dear Pats Nation podcast tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern time, I'm interviewing Kyrie Thompson, and I'm totally going to fan geek out over him when he's there. So,
oh, my God.
He's one of my favorite fucking writers. He's a Boston sports writer. He's one of the fucking greatest guys in the world. And he used to be a paleontologist before he became a sports writer. So we're I just found that out. So we're talking dinosaurs tonight, too.
I'm not innocent of geeking out too. Like when Ricky Gervais just retweeted something that I wrote,
I literally was on
cloud 9 for like half a day. I was like, woo!
I geeked out for you that day. I'm like, Ricky Gervais just retweeted James
and said love it, and it was like literally he spent this much time on me, and I spent like hours just like, and then finally I was like, I gotta stop fucking.
I gotta get out of this.
There's no one even here. I'm just like dancing around my living room by myself.
Yeah, it was me last week with Rod Black. I grew up watching Rod Black and listening to Rod Black and everything Rod Black. Any sports, like he was synonymous with sports. So I'm on the show. Dean tells me that we've got Rod Black on. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I like that guy and everything. But as soon as he was on, I heard his voice. It was like, that's Rod Black. And I was silent. That whole show, I made one good joke, and I made Rod Black laugh. And I said to myself, "Shut up! You did it. Yeah. Just stop talking." That's it. And even afterwards, Dean messaged me. He's like, "You were pretty quiet today, eh?" I'm like, "Did you notice it was only while Rod was on?"
All right, I'll give you guys my story. Then I actually got to split because I got to actually record the podcast.
Of course.
Listen, hate saying this about this guy, but Dean Blundell, to me, revolutionized Canadian sports radio when he went to the Fan for that very short time. Sports radio was boring, but I don't like American sports cover or media either because it's just screaming at each other. There's no real there's no entertainment value to that. And I thought that Dean brought holy shit, he brought what we need to sports radio. I wasn't a fan of his when he was on The Edge. I always listened to talk radio, so I knew of him. Everybody knew who Dean was in the Toronto area, but I didn't really know the guy. Then he came to the Fan. I'm like, fuck, I could have listened to this guy for 15 years. This is brilliant. I love him. And then he leaves the Fan and whatnot, and my life kind of moves on. And then Chris reaches out to me and, do you want to join the network? And I was like, holy fuck. And I'm like, all capsing my wife, Dean fucking Blundell Network wants me to join. So I joined the network, whatever. And then one day I get a DM from Dean. He's like, hey, you want to jump on a call? And I'm acting all like, yeah, sure, no worries. When do you want to do it? He's like, let's do it in 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, cool. As I'm pacing my fucking out, I'm outside having a smoke, fucking drag.
We had the same.
Chain smoking 3 cigarettes. Like, holy fuck, Dean Blundell wants to have a fucking call with me. Wants to have a call. Now he's just fucking Dean. Like, now it's like the stars, the geekiness is over now. But I was like, dude, I geeked right the fuck out. I was like, holy shit. I'm not just not even doing a show. Like, I'm having this one-on-one fucking intimate conversation with him. To have 5 minutes in the conversation, I'm telling him how I fucking went to rehab and I had to get clean off of drugs. And
he does that.
I'm like, we had this like hour conversation. I was like, I just told Dean Blundell my entire miserable fucking life story.
I feel like he's got a clone, guys. Like, I feel like how many hours can he spend on the phone every day?
Isn't that funny?
Hey, clone, get up here. DeFury's on the phone. He talks about his wife. Just go ahead.
Isn't that funny though? Like, I had the exactly like almost verbatim the way you're saying it, Ray. We got in a Twitter fight with somebody together. We were just happened to be following each other because it was COVID related, I'm sure. Same thing. DM me later. He's like, "Hey, fuck! It says you got a podcast in your bio. What? I've got a podcast network. Why don't you come over?" And I'm like, Dean Blundell just asked me to join his podcast network. What the fuck? Yeah. Okay. There was no question. He goes, I'll call you this. You know what? You're around this weekend. Let's have a chat on the phone. I'm like, okay. 3.5 hours on the fucking phone, and it was like I've known the guy forever. Like he is that way.
Dude, we've all had the same experience then.
I think so.
Dude,
2 years ago, same thing. Go ahead, Ray. Yeah.
Sorry, because I'm sorry, and I got to split. I don't want to cut you off on your show, James.
No,
Dude,
no worries.
I had a contract on the table that weekend before I came onto the network, offering me good money, and my wife is just looking at me like I'm insane. Like, what do you mean you want to do the Dean Blundell network, and they're not going to pay you, and there might be some opportunity for revenue share down the line? I'm like. And my whole thing was like, I never had any following in Canada. I've always had an American following. I'm like, this is my chance to get into Canada. And she's like, you think that fucking Canadian radio is going to be into you? Like, they're going to hear it and be like, that's the guy. That's the guy. She says, like, you tell me that radio sucks. And you think they're going to bring you on when you're sitting there going, fuck the NFL, fuck Main Street Media, fuck this guy. And, but I think
that's the best part is that you're like, you already had an American audience. And you're like, you know what, though? The real gold at the end of the rainbow is with the Canadian audience.
Well,
I feel like the only guy that's ever said that.
I think the thing is, though, it's you come out every night, you talk to thousands of Americans, because, I get a couple thousand listen to me a day. I talk to thousands of Americans. I make a Canadian reference. My co-hosts are like, what? I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's a Canadian thing, whatever, right? Like, they make fun of our dollar. They make fun of everything.
Good. Your show is great for that. That back and forth is fucking phenomenal.
Anyway, speaking of my show, gotta go, boys. They're probably waiting for me to start up here.
Dude,
so
thanks, Ray.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Ray. Oh,
enjoy your show, guys. Everyone go watch the Ray Root show. What is it, 10 o'clock?
Dear Past Nation, 10 p.m. tonight, live on my YouTube channel, Dear Past Nation.
All right, everyone check that out.
You'll get check out the Dean Blundell network. Twitter will retweet Ray's show when it goes live. You'll see it there if you're not following him already, and then you can follow him from there.
It's funny how we all have the same. He's fucking super nice guy. Probably the only Christian I like.
I was just gonna say he's the only religious person I can fucking stand in the same room with, because he doesn't tell me about being religious. Like, unless we're always the ones to bring it up with him. I think that's telling.
And he's one of those guys where it's like, I don't think I want to cut up God right now because Ray's here.
Yeah, you kind of you stutter it a bit. It's nice,
but it's funny that we all have the same Dean Blundell experience. Like, mine's a little bit different. I think it might have been Dean, put out a story on his website, and I emailed him randomly. He was like, do you have the supporting documents for this story? This is like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, I'll get Dave or whoever at the time to send it to you. And then he just sort of never did. And then I think one day I'd have to look back, but he contacted me and he's like, what are you doing? Do you feel like jumping on a podcast? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Mm-hmm. And then we did it. And then that was 2 years ago. And now we're like, and now here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's funny when Ray was like saying that he could just be himself. I have learned so much about myself since I've been working with you guys. Like, it's so interesting for me to see the ups and downs of being a person with no broadcast experience. I did some stuff, but I never had a broadcasting job. Mm-hmm. And watching my growth and then my what's the opposite of growth?
Stunt? I don't know.
Regression. Growth and regression, and it's true, and it's my ability to find a way to have a conflict with virtually anyone at any time.
I was gonna say, I was trying to find a funny way to use the word alopecia.
Yeah. Well,
but I couldn't figure it. It was
no.
like because you said regression, so
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't think alopecia is a
bald
thing.
guys can tell the joke.
I don't think alopecia is. Has anyone ever died from alopecia? Because if not, fuck off. I don't really care that you went bald.
Has anybody ever died from alopecia? Because I'm bald. I'm getting shit for making the joke now. See what you did? Now I'm in a fight with my wife.
See how easily conflict just finds me and then... Did you just like David Letterman? Oh, okay. I'm just saying, if no one's ever died from alopecia, then fuck off, Jada Pinkett. You know, like you're just bald. Deal with it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Look at wife mode. Hold on, let's get wife mode.
Oh, hi. It's just me now. I'd like to make an apology. Is that how you do it? I was making the apology. No, I was just trying to make
smack you across the face.
I was trying to make the apology because you ISO'd me, so I was going to do a public navigator style apology there.
No one wants to see that.
Jamesy?
Okay, well listen. Yeah, we're gonna cut this long. An hour. Supposed to go an hour and 50 minutes, but that's okay.
2.5 hours later, haven't had dinner.
Yep.
I love you, but I gotta fucking.
I will let you
drunk.
go. I'm not getting drunk. I'm getting Red Bulled, but that could be a sexual term for all I know. And if it is, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was.
You're gonna have to issue an apology tomorrow.
Yeah,
somebody's coming to smack you.
Ryan Lindley, please apologize on behalf of myself to Ashley, and then let her know immediately I didn't mean it. Okay,
James, I need you to apologize on my behalf to my wife as well, and I'll have Ashley apologize through me to you. And
okay,
I think we'll be okay.
As long as none of us really mean it, we're good. We're good.
I love you, buddy.
That's Ryan Lindley, everybody. Ryan, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was a great time, and we should do this more often.
Yeah, we should, seriously, because you have a 9 to 5 and you're not really on Dean's show that much anymore. Right?
It's every other week. I have a staggered shift pattern with what I do at work. So every other week I can make every day of the week, and then every day this week I can't make unless I happen to get off early. So that's why sometimes on these weeks you'll see me pop in at 4:45 just to like break a story or do so. If I have that opportunity, I'll do it, or I'll break into the chat, and sometimes you'll see the stories come through the chat, and that's usually me. So.
And one day I might be back on the Dean Blundell show if we can figure out how Lachlan can stop getting angry at me. And when we do that, he's going to get angry at that too. Fuck.
Why are you why are you letting cats get bags? Like it's so
I don't care.
The mysteriousness and the allure is. Do you know how many DMs I get about you a day, and I just don't answer them. I just don't. I'm like,
why not?
Just because I think it adds to the then people.
I got to tell
you out
before you go
seek your show out. I think it's a great way to actually spider the viewership a bit.
Dude, I got to tell you, just before you go, that I have been really touched by and I'm not being funny at all, by when I go into and watch the podcast, because I still watch it. By the way, guys, for all the people that have been asking me over the last few weeks, there are no hard feelings between the Dean Blundell show and myself. There are no there's no big story behind the scenes or anything like that. I had some shit to take care of. I took a hiatus from the show. Will I be back on the show? That is something that I am not 100% sure in what capacity, but after talking with Dean the last couple of days, I will be. We're just trying to figure out how and how often and all that kind of stuff. But what I'm really touched by is like the people in the chat that I've noticed over the last month that have been like, "Where's James? Where's James?" Mm-hmm. That's all I need.
That's my that's my DMs. I'm telling you, I'll send you a screenshot of my DM screens.
Please do. I would love to see it, because as a narcissist, it really does a lot for me to know that other people are saying nice things about me.
Very artificially and very temporarily, but sure, if I can help with that, that'd be great.
Everyone's my Ricky Gervais, really, at the end of the day.
Tweet James. Right. Tweet James and tell him how much you love him, because he needs it.
Yeah,
and
please, I do. No one loves me right now.
Tag me in it too, because I could use some love too.
Well, I love you, Ryan. Okay, tell Ashley I love her too, but I don't mean the apology. Okay, I'm not sorry about the alopecia jokes.
I'm not apologizing to her either. So I might be living in Killaloo soon.
Okay, I won't
buddy.
be, but okay. Good job. Thanks, Ryan.
Bye, bud.
All right, guys. Ryan Lindley. This went along a lot longer than what I thought it would, but that's fine. That was fun. I really enjoy. I don't know. I just like talking about subjects like that. That that sort of capture. That takes celebrity culture and puts it in like this in this shaker, like a martini shaker, and then pour it out, and everyone's got a different drink. Everyone's got a different view on what Will Smith smacking Chris Rock across the face means. And of course, I think it means that Jada Pinkett is an awful person because I think she abuses her husband. But that's for another time. So I just want to let everyone know that I have taken Ryan's advice, and I am no longer doing my podcast at 1 p.m. because to be honest with you, all the guests that I could get were all like retirees because no one's around at 1 p.m. So what I'm going to do is take a page out of the Dean Blundell playbook, and my podcast will be now weeknights between 6 and 6:30, just depending on how lazy I am or how determined I am to be on time. It's probably going to be around 6:15 each night. But yeah, I hope you can join us. We're going to focus a little bit more on entertainment stuff, music and things like that. But I'll still have politicians on. I want to focus on comedians a lot as well. Anyways, big things happening, though, in the next couple months for Blackballed. And thanks for joining us. And until next time, I guess, should I come up with some sort of Blackballed tagline to say it every... Like, you remember... 2 and 2, be right back at you. The dating game guy? No, I don't want to do that. No, you're right. Okay, guys. Thanks. We'll see you soon.